Hello, it's me, Daryl, Florida Catholic guy. Just showing you my Trump hat with the hair. I don't think I wore this in one of my videos yet. Big day, obviously. Of course, I'm talking about Election Day. It's about 4:17. I'm out for an earlier walk than normal. Well, for one thing, let's go. Come on. For one thing, it gets dark earlier now. It's, of course, we had to time change last Sunday morning. So now it gets dark at about 5:45, something like that. And not my favorite time of year with the darkness, but it's a lot better. As I've said before, it's a lot better than what it was in Maine when it got dark at 4 o'clock. At least we get a little over an hour more sunlight than in the afternoon than we got in Maine. And today's beautiful. Very few clouds around. Nice sunshine, nice breeze. You can probably hear in the background. Very low humidity. Probably in the low to mid 70s, I'd say. Just have a pretty good breeze, which makes it really nice. And in fact, yesterday I went to Mass at night for the feast of, let's go Shadow, for the Feast of All Souls. They had a Requiem Mass for High Mass for the feast day. And after Mass, we had a reception in the hall where we had some soul cakes. I can explain a little about them, but more than anything, I want to talk about the election. Basically, soul cakes are like little, not really biscuits, but little round cakes. Some of them are more, feel more like cookies, but they've got the texture of the cake, soft. And they traditionally, kids would, it's basically how trick-or-treating started. Kids would go around and ask for soul cakes, and in turn the kids would promise to pray for the person's deceased loved ones. Let's go, Shadow. So the kids would pray for the people's deceased loved ones if they get a soul cake. And so basically that's how the tradition of trick-or-treating got started way back when. And so there's a song that goes with it. I'm not gonna try to sing the song. The chorus goes something like, a soul, a soul cake. 1 for Peter, 2 for Paul, and it's a regular song. But if you look up soul cake, you can probably find the online, both the song and tradition and its history, and it's real interesting, at least for me. And at Mass, they had an empty coffin. There's a name for it, basically a false coffin, but there's a liturgical name for it. I'm not sure what it is. Our priest told us during his sermon, but Shadow, come over here. There. So, and then the rest was basically a funeral mass for all the deceased people, and so it was nice. Got some extra prayers in for the election, obviously, along with praying for my deceased family members, friends, and whatnot. And of course, November is the month of All Souls, where Catholics pray for all deceased people. Usually we get a plenary indulgence with the traditional requisites of hearing Mass and going to confession, being in a state of grace, which is, the prerequisite for any indulgence. And during the month usually it's the first 8 days of November. If you go to a cemetery and pray for the deceased, you get a plenary indulgence. And this year, because of COVID, Rome has said that we can gain the plenary indulgence the entire month. And interesting, or not interesting, but the good thing is that, our priest is always telling us how we can become saints. And I believe he's talking, in fact, I'm almost sure he's talking about saints with a capital S. My hair is getting blown in the wind here. Yeah, we can become saints by doing just this simple thing. Just going to a cemetery and praying for the deceased. How simple is that? But how few people actually do it. And it's amazing that something so simple could give us so many graces, but yet so few people actually do it. And it's really sad. And if we those of us that do it, we had a pretty full church last night. Pretty amazing, since it's not a holy day of obligation. It's a great day to go to remember our deceased family, friends, loved ones, even our enemies. And to pray for all the souls that we know and even those we don't know. And the one thing that we all have in common is at some point we're all going to die. And especially us Catholics. How many Catholics actually pray for the dead? How many of us actually have masses said. And you know, we, even if, which I don't, all I got for family is my mom, you know, some cousins and aunts and uncles that I'm scattered throughout the country, but nobody I'm really close to, other than my mom, which, I mean, more than likely, she's not going to be around when I die. At least I hope not, because if for some reason I died before her, she would be really in trouble financially and whatnot, not having anybody to take care of her. And so hopefully, with the grace of God, she'll go before I do, even though I don't want her to go. Come on, Shadow. Come on, Shadow. There we go. But, I mean, everybody's going to die someday. It's just a fact of life. And, we all need people to pray for us after we die. And a lot of us, even a lot of people, even if they have children, or how many of those would even bother having a funeral mass said? Never mind praying for you. So and it's like our priest was saying, especially the way the churches are, and he's speaking from his own experience of what he's seen. You know, a lot of funeral masses, lucky you don't have liturgical dancers dancing down the aisle, and you know, and even though, at least in the Catholic religion, Catholic faith, eulogies aren't allowed at funeral masses, but of course they do happen anyway. And most people, he says, aren't very good. He didn't say it like this, but they aren't very good Christians. And the reason he knows this is because during the eulogies, everybody tries to outdo themselves with stories about how bad the person was. And you know, it's pretty sad. And then you have priests, instead of praying for the deceased during a funeral mass, they talk about how, oh, this person's already in heaven, and, you know, already golfing with Jesus or whatever, and don't even consider that the soul is in purgatory at best, and in need of our prayers to be released from purgatory. But, or even worse, in hell, where our prayers won't do them any good anyway. It's always, you know, the Mass isn't for the dead person, it's for the living, and that's far from the truth. And so how few people even have a real funeral Mass with prayers for the dead, black vestments, and how many people even consider our own mortality. And so, you know, hopefully, our priest said, by, you know, doing these, you know, when we do what we're supposed to do and pray for the dead, and because of our prayers, the souls are released from purgatory. And how much will How much will they love us when they see God face to face, and how much will they pray for us on our behalf? And we can hope that we'll become saints, and any purification or purgation that we need will be done while here in this life, so when we die we can go right to heaven. And that's our hope. And just doing stuff that's real simple that we should be doing anyway in these days can make us a saint. And by the way, this month, I think I talked about it before, is they call NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month. And basically what it is you have the whole month of November to write a 50,000 page novel. I've participated in this many times. I think I've completed it 6 or 7 times. But the novel I'm doing this year is How to Become a Saint. And obviously I'm not a theologian or, a learned scholar. I'm not somebody like St. Thomas Aquinas that's a very learned person, but I'm just giving my opinion and, given, what I've heard from priests and what I've learned from reading and what I know from my own faith and my own experiences, how I believe we can become a saint. Now that doesn't mean I'm a saint. I'm not. I've got a long way to go. I know that. And in fact, in a lot of ways, this novel that I'm writing is do as I say, not as I do. Because, I'm pretty lacking in a lot of things, but let's just say I'm a work in progress. So that's that. Now with the time I got left, which isn't much, I want to talk about the issue of the day, the elections. I am very optimistic. In fact, I'm at the point where I'd actually be stunned if Trump doesn't win Florida. I think Trump is going to win Florida, and I think it's really not even going to be that close. And there's a couple reasons for this. From what I'm hearing today on election day, Republicans have a 2-to-1 advantage over Democrats in person voting today. And yesterday I just found out from Dan Bongino, he did a thing on Miami-Dade County, which went for Clinton. I think Clinton had over 630 votes to Trump's 330-something thousand votes. And this year in the early voting, the Republicans are outpacing the Democrats in Miami-Dade County. Now, if the Republicans were to win Miami-Dade County, that would be the equivalent of the Trump winning New York or California. That's how big that would be, at least in the state of Florida. And it would mean that basically Biden would have no chance in this state. And we're seeing the trending in the Midwest, Iowa, and all the other Midwest swing states. Trump is up big in Iowa, and he's up in all of the swing states. Come on, Shadow, let's go. I mean, there's a good chance that we'll even take Minnesota this year, which would be, I mean, as far as electoral delegates as much, it would be huge because Minnesota hasn't gone red, and they didn't even go red for Reagan. It's been lots of years since Minnesota's gone red, but you know, just the level of excitement I've seen all over Pennsylvania, which, if things are trending the way they are, might not even be a must-win state, but let's say it is, for the sake of argument. That's the only one that worries me because of voter fraud. I've already had issues where Republican areas have shut down their voting centers, and you know, you've had some crooked judges that are controlled by Democrats that have basically put the fix in, saying that they could count absentee ballots up to 7 days after the election day, which, I'm sorry, that's wrong. And we can thank our buddy Chief Justice Roberts for that one. That was a disgraceful ruling on his part. And just if that costs us the election, which I don't think it will, but if it does, it's not going to be good. I'm talking Civil War level fraud. Shadow! And there's been some posts on Twitter that I've seen where a Democrat election worker has posted that he's been throwing Trump votes in the garbage. And if this is happening, this is Civil War level fraud, if this is allowed to continue. And I'm hoping it's just talk and it's not happening, but it wouldn't surprise me. So we'll have to see. Either way, I'm either going to have a couple of strong drinks tonight in celebration, or if bad things happen tonight, I'm going to have a lot of strong drinks tonight, and I'll be passed out for a couple days. Anyway, I'm home, and we'll see what happens, whether I do an update tonight or tomorrow, something. Anyway, thanks for watching. Good night, God bless you, and see you in the next one. Bye.